this C++ operators, the addition, the subtraction, multiplication, division, and also the modulus, right?
Yes.
So we just do a short program that's gonna be doing those. That will be using those operators there, right?
Okay.
So first thing, I'm just gonna declare the two numbers there that will be that we can use to perform those calculations. So I'm just gonna say num1 and num2. So are you comfortable with this declaration of the variables where I declare everything on the same line? It's
Yes. Yes.
so when it's like this, it's like now, since we I know that even if I declare integer, so let's say now even if I do in integer num2 here, so this thing we just avoiding to write this integer again.
Oh,
So since we
right.
know that,
Okay.
yeah, since we know that num2 is also an integer, we can just put them on the same line just
Okay.
to save time. Yeah,
All right. I understand.
yeah, you see that, right? So you have to put a comma. When you put the semicolon, it means you are done. You see.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we can say um we can ask the user to enter the two numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, or you can just say please enter a number. Then after that, um I'm just gonna enter my line then. So for me, then I'm just gonna say number one there. You see, since we are not that comfortable with some of the other stuff,
Mm.
mm, I won't do much of the shortcut where I ask the user to enter the two number here, then I see in num1 and num2. So you can also, especially when we are still learning, you can also do the thing of just just making the
Separated.
separate, yeah, make them separate, right?
Okay.
Uh, let's say here the first, then here let me say the second. Uh, okay, num1, num2, right? Yeah,
Okay.
most of the time, like it means where you'll be putting everything on the same line, num1, num2. It means you have to be comfortable with this thing. Otherwise,
Okay.
when you are still learning, just don't complicate things for you. You get me?
Mm. Yeah, stick to this simple
Yeah,
way.
yeah, a simple way. So now, since we're gonna need the sum, the different, the product, the quotient, and the remainder, I can I can put them there. Then having the sum is the one that is stand for the addition.
Okay.
Yeah. Also having the different. So the different is the one for the subtraction, and also
Subtraction.
having the product. Then the product, it will be the variable for the multiplication, and
Okay.
and also having the quotient.
For division.
Yeah. So the quotient, it will be the one for the division. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And reminder. So reminder, it will be the one for the modulus sign there. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So now we're gonna perform those calculations. So here the user entered num1 and num2. So now we can be able to do what? We can be able to say sum is equals to, right? So we can
Mm-hmm.
say num1 plus num2.
Okay.
then it means this is the sum, right?
Mm,
Then now let's say now we want the different, right?
mm,
Mm, with the different, we can say num1 minus
minus two.
num2. So there is the thing that, especially when we are asking the user, if the user enter if num1, it becomes lower than num2. You see, so when num1
Mm,
is lower, the user gonna minus the, if num1 is lower than num2 is bigger, so it means the user's gonna minus the bigger number from the lower number, which gonna result into negative. But now we're just gonna assume that the user gonna enter num1 as the bigger than the second number as lower. So but
okay.
we, going forward, we'll be using what you call this in the if statement to make sure that num1, it must be bigger than num2, especially when you are performing the different. So
Okay.
when you're performing the different, where you use the if statement is just to, we're gonna make sure that we don't end up getting a negative number. So if we don't want to result into getting a negative number, then it means we'll be checking which number is bigger than the other one. So which,
Oh,
when we get that we have the number that is bigger, then it means we'll take the smaller one, then minus from the bigger number. But now the focus, it is not on that. So it means when we're doing the if statement, that's where I'm gonna show you. You get me?
yeah.
But now the focus is not on that. The focus is just on knowing how these C++ operators work. You see?
Wait, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, product is just gonna be num1 multiplied by
Mm,
num2. You see? So most of the time, make sure when you write your program, you do what? When you are done, you terminate. When you are done, you terminate. When you are done, you terminate. Otherwise, if you don't do, it's
it's
gonna
one
give you
thing.
it's gonna
Yeah.
give you an error. You get me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also don't do those thing of wanting to put the end line here. Don't do such things. Here we are just
Okay.
we are just working out on the variable. We're just working out on the calculation. So no need to enter the line here. You get me?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I see some can, they can think of doing such thing. You get me?
Mm,
Saying if on the statement we can also remove the end line, just put the semicolon. It means also everywhere we can also end the line. You see,
mm,
and that's not the case. Okay, so now quotient. So with the quotient, also you have to be aware there. So with the quotient, it's like um, it's gonna be it's gonna take up the number um before a comma. You get
okay.
me?
Yeah.
All those number before a comma, they are representing what? A quotient. You get me?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they say this only return the quotient after dividing the two numbers, return the remainder after divided. It is not explaining too much.
Okay.
So there it's just gonna be num1. Um, so that's the sign for the quotient num2, right? So
Okay.
the thing that we have to know is the quotient it takes a number before a comma, right?
Mm,
So it takes a number before a comma, right?
okay.
So it means if you divide the two numbers, then where it's where it have decimals, then the quotient is just gonna do what? It's just gonna take that number before a comma. You get me?
Yes.
So, for example, let's say you have 1.5, right?
Mm,
Then the quotient is only going to be 1. You get me?
mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. So now we have reminder, right? So with the reminder is gonna, so reminder is now, let's say you have we have 5 and 7, right?
Mm.
Then you want the remainder. So the remainder on 5 and 7 is 2.
Mm.
You know why? It's because if you can check 5 and 7, right? 5
Yeah.
or 5 only goes once to 7.
Once
Then
to
the only number that's remain there is 2.
it's
You
true.
get
Yeah.
you get you get me.
Yeah.
So it means that 2 that remains there is what is the remainder, right?
Mm.
But now when I'm demonstrating it like this, where I'm talking about the smaller numbers, it seems easier. But now if they give you the numbers that are big, it means you have to come up with a calculation that's gonna help you to work it fast. You get me?
Okay.
Yeah. It's like now when I'm working with the smaller numbers, it make it more easier. But when you have
Yeah,
the
it's
bigger numbers,
easy.
we have to
Mm.
think more about it. You get me?
Mm.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna show you the calculations. So when you're calculating the remainder, you have to make sure it's num1 minus. So now you're gonna take the quotient multiplied by what? By num2,
Okay.
right? So now let's say example, ne?
Mm.
Num1 and num2 is what? Let's say you have that 7 and 5 that I was giving an example with. You see?
Okay.
Yeah. So having that 7 and 5, it means now you're gonna take num1 and num2, right? So num1 we make it that is 7, then num2
Mm.
is 5 there. So right now you're gonna say 7 divided what? 7 divided by 4, right? Then when you say 7 divided by 4, it means our quotient becomes what? It means our quotient now, right? Our quotient is our quotient, it becomes 1, right? So our quotient now becomes 1. It's because 7 divided by 5 is 1.4. You get me?
Yes.
And remember, I told you that the quotient is just gonna be a number before a comma. You get me? So a
Yeah.
quotient like is a whole number. You get me? No other way you can
Mm.
find a quotient having the commas there. You get me?
Mm.
Or having the decimals. You get me?
Yeah.
So now when our quotient is 1, it means here you'll have 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then num2, remember what's num2? Okay. I'm gonna show up here. Remember we said our num1 is
Num
7,
is 7 and num2 is 5.
then our quotient, which is what? Which is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then will be multiplied by what? By num2, which is what? Which is 5,
5.
right?
Mm.
Wait, I did not put it in a good, which is 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this thing is gonna result into what? It's gonna result into 2, which is our remainder. You get me?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So it means 7 num1, 1 quotient, 5 num2. You get me? Then it's gonna result into 1 multiplied by 5 is just 5. Then 7 minus 5 is the result. It's
Yes.
gonna result
Yes.
into 2. So
Yeah.
that's the remainder. You get me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand.
Okay. From there, we need to um, we can display those values, right?
Mm.
So we can say C out, then say can just say add. So this one is for the addition. Then we display the sum there,
Mm.
right? So again, you can have what do you call this thing? you can just put a comma to separate them. Then now
Mm-hmm.
have the one for the substitution, right? To put the can also put the colon there. Then after that, I can also do it for the different. So remember, I told you that you can also okay, this one is gonna we're gonna put it. I told you that you can also display as many lines, as many variables that you want on the same line.
Yes.
Remember? Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
yeah, that's what we are doing here. So again, so this comma, it means when it display, it's just gonna do what? It's just gonna it's just gonna separate them. You get me?
Okay.
Yeah. So just like this, you see. So here, I'm gonna represent what the multiplication here,
Mm.
right? So representing the multiplication. mm, okay. So what I have to put here, the product, right? This is the one that's standing for the multiplication there.
Mm.
Then now I'm gonna do it again for the division, which is the you can call it the divisor, which is the divisor, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So now here I can put
Yes. Mm.
yeah, quotient. Yes, I have to put quotient. Okay, it has to appear. Then after that I have to put okay, the last one, which is modulus, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm putting the last one, which is modulus. So okay, I'm just gonna denote it by mod. Mm, just leave a space there. Okay, I'm just gonna leave a space because if you don't leave a space there, your stuff, they're just gonna be like close to each
Mm.
other. You see,
Yeah.
reminder. Okay, I can end my line there.
Okay.
Mm, okay, okay. Let me build this thing and see if we have something that doesn't make sense to them. Okay, I just put my code. Mm, okay, let me just put them run. Okay, let me show up you the output there.
All right.
So you have to enter the first number. As we were planning to, let's say we have 7 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Mm.
uh, for the addition is 12. For the substitution is 2. For the multiplication is 35, right?
Yes.
For division
It's
is 1. For the divisor is 1. For, for modulus is 2. You get me?
okay. Yeah.
So um when coming to okay, so this thing, if you work out this all the calculations on your calculator,
Mm.
also it must give you the same thing. You
Correspond
get
to this one.
yeah. So
Mm.
now it's like now you see for the reminder, ne,
Mm.
you don't it's just that you have to know how to work it out manually. But now for the reminder also we can say reminder is equals to then say num1 then put the modular sign then put num2 there.
Mm.
Then it's still gonna work the same way. It's still gonna give us the same answer.
All
You
right.
get me?
Mm.
Yeah. There on line 21, it's just that I was showing you up the calculation, like how to calculate it manually. Because this
Yes.
now is just gonna work it out by the program there. You see?
Okay.
Yeah. Because it is good to know how to get it manually. So the calculations. You see?
Yeah. So that you'll be able to like to compare and see if it's giving you the correct one.
Yeah, it has to. It has to. Okay, I'm just gonna enter the same numbers. You see, you still modulus is still two there. You see.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, for you when you're still working out, you can just compare if you are check it out if your calculations were good, and also check it out with the one that is 100. This one is 100%. You can mess
Okay.
up
Yeah,
the calculations.
lively.
Yeah, you can mess up the calculations, but this one, no other way it can mess up.
Okay.
Yeah. But the calculation, you have to be careful there. You get me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so far, so far. Okay. Any question?
I think
Um,
so far I do understand, and now that you have shown me how to actually calculate the remainder using this one, the formula that you just showed me now, I feel like it's easier than the manual one.
mm, I
Yeah,
see. I see.
yeah,
But it is also important to know how to calculate it. You get me?
yeah, manually is.
Yeah, and that's also important. Yeah, all of them like they have their operators. All of them.
Mm,
There's the plus, there's the minus. This is aesthetic for the multiplication. This one for the division. This one for the modulus. There, you see.
okay.
So, mm, yeah, that's the stuff that I plan to cover. Mm, so from here, it means we can start working out the if statement then. If you
Okay.
if you get the operators, because the important thing is just to make sure that you understand how these operators work, especially
Right.
the quotient and the remainder. You see, especially the quotient
Yeah.
and the remainder. Those product different, the sum, those things, I can say they're just straightforward.
Yeah.
You see, but the quotient and the remainder, then that's the important one that you have to make sure that you understand.
Yeah, I do understand. It's just that with the manual one, if maybe I'm using big numbers, that when maybe it will be a little bit tricky. But since there's another option, I think, yeah, it shouldn't
Another
be a problem.
another option for what?
Like the reminder, to calculate the reminder, not
Uh,
using the manual way, but when you put it on code, I feel like it's easier if maybe you're using bigger numbers, because now we're just using 5, 7, and 5, and it's simple.
okay, let's say okay, I've just got to put bigger numbers if they wanna see.
Yeah, let's try
Mm,
that one.
okay, so okay, let me show up. I did run the program. Let me show up
Okay.
with the yeah. So now it's let's say you have this as the first number, then we
Mm,
have 34 as
mm,
the second number.
mm.
You see now this one is the one that's gonna you see now our modulus is 40.
14. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one that's gonna make you to think to say, This one it means you have to think, because the first of all you have to know how many, how like this 34,
Mm, yeah,
how many
and
times
it
it
goes
goes
to
inside
456.
yeah 456. Then
Yes.
after that, when you know how many times it goes there, it means the ones that remains,
Remainder.
that's your reminder. You get me?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we use the quotient there. That's why
Okay.
we use that's why we you use the quotient. So when you have the quotient, is like now you have how many times it goes inside there. Then
Yeah.
the other thing that that you're gonna need is just to say, okay, let me I know how many times it goes. Let's say it goes 5 times. I know it goes 5 times. So now let's say that 5 multiplied by 34. So now you want to say you want to count those 34 that are going inside there, which are
Mm,
five. Then we want to say 5 multiplied by 34. Then that number you minus it from 556 456. Then the one
mm.
that remains is gonna be your reminder. You get me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the remainder is like the numbers there that are left undivided. You see, like the
Oh,
one that
yeah.
the one that
Yeah,
we were
no.
dividing the
Mm,
one that are divide, the one that we were dividing 7 and 5. Two is the one that left being undivided there. You get me?
mm. Yeah.
Yeah, five it only goes to 7 1 time. Then it means that two is the one that is left. That's why we call it the remainder. It's the one that is remaining. You see?
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe what confused me is because I thought maybe we multiplied the quotient with the num to like that part actually the way maybe you explain it confused me because now I can see if you divide those numbers and then you get your quotient, ne? And then you will be left with the remainder, and now you have your answer. The simple way, the way I understand it, I just
Okay. Wait.
divided the number now, ne? But I used the
Yeah.
calculator just to see. So I said 456 divided by 34, and then it gave me that remaining.
So now when you say 456 divided by 34, it gives you close
Yeah,
to 13
13 is just
point.
that 13.411. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
since you
the
said we
divisor.
only
All
took,
right.
yes,
So now if you take that 13 multiplied by 34 is
okay,
what? 404 442, right?
42. Oh,
Take
okay.
that 18. You see, then now take that 442 minus
Oh,
it from the from 456.
oh yeah. Oh, okay. Let me just write it down because and now I understand. Okay.
You see.
Yeah. Just want to put it down so that I can proceed
Yeah.
and
First
write
thing about
everything.
the first thing about the remainder, you have to check how many times the number that
Mm,
34 goes inside what 456. You have to know how many times. Then after
mhm.
you have know after you have known how many times. So knowing how many times, that's where you're gonna use the quotient, right?
Yeah.
Then it's gonna give you 13 there. So now you know, okay, it means this 34 goes 13 times inside 456. So now you're thinking,
Mm,
okay, this 13 now I want to know, I want to know like the total numbers of 34,
mm,
right? The
yeah.
total numbers the total numbers of 34 that are going inside for 456. That's why you're gonna say 13 multiplied by 34. Then they're gonna give you that thing is the total numbers of 34 that are going inside 456 there. Then when you find
Mm,
out the that 13 multiplied by 34, it gives you 442. It means that 442 is the one that is divided there. But
yes.
the now taking that 442 minus with 456, it give you 14. It means that 14 is the one that was not divided. You get me? So
Yeah.
that's the number that is left, and also that's the remainder. You see,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
the
Now I understand.
that's the remaining number there. You get me?
Yeah. I thought it's
Okay.
complicated, but I can see it's easier.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy. It's not complicated.
Mm.
It's not complicated. Mm, okay. Yeah. So if you do it like that, then yeah, it's gonna work
Okay.
out for you. It's gonna work out for you. Yeah. Like first thing you have to demonstrate it by saying, okay, how many times does this number go inside that number? You see,
Yes.
after
Mm.
that you're gonna say, okay, if it goes to this time, okay, let me multiply that. Let me multiply the how many times it goes with the with
Yeah.
the with this second number. Then you're gonna know, okay, this number, it means um it goes it goes there this time, right?
Yes.
So it means you'll be having the numbers that are divided inside there, right?
Mm.
Then now the only thing that you want those numbers that are remaining after the division. You get me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You
Mm.
want to know the number that remains after the division then.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why I was doing, for me, I was just using smaller numbers, yes, sir, so that you can understand easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the small number, like I made it very easy so that you can understand. Okay. Um so far, if you don't have any question, then also it means you understand.
Yeah. I do understand.
Okay. Mm,